actually telling the mind to do anything. We're not telling the mind to transcend. We're giving it a process where it can experience quieter levels of mind. Because if we told the mind, get quiet, transcend, we'd be thinking. And in many ways, we have to come off the conscious thinking and let this process kick in. And so by doing that, the benefits that we've talked about come about.
A question over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I wanted to address her question about the difference between mindfulness meditation
Okay.
and TM, because I did practice mindfulness, and I was actually going to go get a master's in it. But then I discovered TM, and the difference is that mindfulness requires a little bit more effort, whereas TM doesn't require as much effort, and you get instant results. They say that you begin to see results from mindfulness meditation after 8 weeks of consistent everyday practice for X amount of time. And TM, the first day I did it, it was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't ever go get a master's in mindfulness. Which there are benefits to mindfulness if you can't go to TM. It's just, it takes a lot more effort. That would be what I would say I found the difference to be.
Will you come up here and take the mic?
I just believe in meditation. So.
There is a value to mindfulness. There's a value to yoga. You know, certainly stretching the body, getting the kinks out, all that is great. The premise that we're dealing with is, can we access this notion of consciousness on a regular basis? Draw a pipe into it, pull out whatever is there. So that's with that. Any other questions before I jump on?
While you're doing that, if I could just say about the lines and what the differences are. So the ones at the top go up and down a lot, indicating the activity of the surface level of the mind, where we're thinking and perceiving and so on. As you go deeper into the mind, it's more settled. So the waves are not as robust, they're quieter. And that's what's going on in the deeper levels of the mind, and that's why it's more restful.
The wave analogy is really great. You know, you can imagine the choppy level.
Think of the ocean, all these big waves, but when you go deeper into the ocean, you don't have these big waves.
Okay. So I wanted to show one or two videos and then kind of come back to, oh Lord.
Is that there's so many.
Can you pull it back to the left? If you want?
Sorry?
Do you want to pull it back to the left to start it? Or?
What to do,
Okay.
who to be.
Sure. Sorry. So this is Jason Aviles, and he's talking about...
My name is Jason Aviles. I'm from New York City, born in the Bronx, lived there all my life. I think that the most difficult
Can you
thing
hear?
growing up in the city is that there's so many influences that do so many things. And everybody's telling you what to do, who to be, how to do it. And
Can you hear it all?
it's confusing. I mean, growing up in this type of environment, I wanted to follow this person because this person was cool. And I wanted to follow this person because they brought the girls. Or I wanted to wear this jewelry because it brought this type of crowd. It's very easy to get caught up in that. And I did get caught up in that. But I felt like there has to be a way inside of myself to kind of kill the noise, to kind of just bring the noise down so I can actually start hearing myself. For me, meditation has just allowed me to unveil who I am. It has allowed me to really be creative, but not by force, naturally, effortlessly. Ideas and just my imagination is always going and it's always vibrant. It's always wanting to do the next and better thing that's for me. It's a way that we can just come back home and kind of like show us the world that's really in front of us. Meditation's for everyone. I lived in the projects for over 10 years. I did a lot of things I wasn't supposed to do. And I'm telling you, it's effortless because it's already there. It's just a way, it's a path to get right back to it. Meditation for me has been an absolute vital tool that I'm going to use for the rest of my life.
Jeff, does the projector have an adjustment on it?
I had the same problem this morning.
Oh, okay.
I think you need another cable for the projector, for the audio.
For the audio.
So, this notion of meditation to improve my life, is probably the most researched form of meditation kind of ever. Hundreds of studies, 500-600 studies. And that's certainly a value and a reason to think about doing this. I also want to talk about kind of the larger implications for meditation, because those of us who are interested in community development, in activism, in helping others, there's another side to this. And that side is how our meditation, linked with other people meditating, has an impact on the environment around us. Before I move on to that, though, I want to, Jeff, your center has regular kind of group meditations, or weekly, or every other week?
Every other week, mostly.
Okay, can you just tell folks what that looks like and how you are organized?
Once a person has learned TM, and you learn TM in a series of steps, the instruction is over a period of 4 consecutive days, about 2 hours on each day, at the end of which you are considered advanced. So we have advanced lectures for the meditating community anytime we're here. Diana Williams and I teach TM from the Triad, Winston-Salem, Greensboro area, down to Wilmington, North Carolina, up to Virginia Beach area. So we're all over the place. And when we are here, we teach here at the Indigo Hotel. We are between offices. We outgrew our last office, and we're in the hunt for an office right now. So we meet, and when people come, they often come with questions, and so we have a discussion, and then we have a group meditation, and we actually check people's meditation to make sure that they are enjoying the effortlessness of the practice, and that they are continuing to get out of it what they want to get out of it. Because if you're not getting out of it what you want to get out of it, there's something wrong with the practice. And that means that it's not effortless, because TM is an effortless, natural process. Anyone can not only learn it, but be able to do it in the first few minutes as successfully as any other person on the planet. Because it's natural, the same thing happens to every person. Randolph was describing profound physical rest, and at the same time, the brain functioning becomes more functionally integrated. The back and the front, left and right hemispheres of the brain start to function as a more integrated whole. And this is true whether a person is meditating for the first time or for the first time in the day 40 years after they've learned. What's different is that when a person finishes their meditation and they go back into activity, the person who's been doing it for 40 years, that habit is more established in the brain. And this is what Randolph was talking about. Yet as we go through the day, that experience of settledness, of stability, of clarity of mind that we have during the practice of TM is enjoyed outside of TM as well. And not only that, as we continue to alternate that deep rest of TM with our daily activity, even in the deep dullness of sleep, there is an inner wakefulness that begins to persist. This inner wakefulness becomes a permanent, all-time reality. And this is what we call higher states of consciousness. Higher states of consciousness, this is not something mystical, it's not metaphorical, it is physiological. In the same way that sleep, waking, and dreaming all have their physiological signatures, brainwave patterns, respiration, biochemistry, during the practice of TM, there is also a signature style of functioning of the nervous system. So a person can tell in the lab whether you are waking, dreaming, sleeping, or practicing TM. And practicing TM produces this physiological state of restful alertness, and no other practice of meditation does that. Whatever value other practices have in terms of interrupting anxiety, for example, or eliciting feelings of loving kindness and compassion for all sentient beings. This is the Dalai Lama's Tibetan meditation technique. What TM does, it provides a profound state of rest that enables the body and mind not only to become repaired, rejuvenated, but to become more functionally integrated. This restful alertness is associated with increased intelligence, creativity, better grades in school, higher scores on standardized tests, and better physiological function. So hypertension is reduced, blood pressure is normalized. If you have low blood pressure, it actually gets raised. High blood pressure is lowered. Cardiovascular health. People who practice TM regularly have a much lower disposition towards mortality and recurrence of the underlying, the heart, having a heart attack again, recurrence. Can I stop there?
Yes, and what I was going to ask, so every other week,
Oh yeah.
people who meditate can come back and have an experience of group
So,
meditation and
we have,
more information.
sorry.
That's what I want.
We have regular meetings for meditators whenever we are in town. Whenever we are in any town. If we're in Greensboro, we offer it there. If we're in the Virginia Beach area, we offer it there. And not only can you enjoy the support of Diana and Jeff and Tawanda locally, but once you learn TM, you have the support of every certified teacher in the world for the rest of your life. We have sent people to Ghana, to Australia, to London, and people can take advantage of the support and programs that they have locally there as well.
So, a support network, and for me, when I was growing up, Jeff and I taught together in Seattle, but in the early days before there were actual resident teachers, the meditators and I just created our own space, and we supported one another in our practice. And so that I think there's a value to this notion of a place where people can come repeatedly and be part of this emerging community. So there's somewhere where I'm going with this.
So in addition, the kinds of things that we do in these meetings, we watch videotapes of our founder, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, talk about not only the mechanics of the practice itself, but as Randolph's going to look at the physiology of meditation, the development of higher states of consciousness, and also how consciousness is related to different disciplines, intellectually and academically. And people have the opportunity to have a discussion about these things. We have a very diverse community, and people come when they come. You know, everybody has their own availability, responsibilities, and so sometimes we get the same number of people, but the people change. Same number, but we have some people who come regularly from a large pool. So we have many, many people who practice TM in the area, and we often get good groups. And it's nice to just be in a group and be able to have conversations freely without having to start at the beginning. Oh, Transcendental meditation is, because everybody in the room knows what it is, because everybody practices it.
I'd like to just shift a little bit from the benefits to the individual. I'd like to talk a little bit more broadly about our community. And I don't know if you all are here in the Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Durham area, or if you come from someplace else. Wherever your community is, I'd like just to take a few notes about what you think the challenges are in your community, 2 or 3 major challenges that you would like to see changed, whether it's health or wealth distribution or access to higher ed or whatever. What are some of the things that in your community you are looking for, ways of improving? Take a few minutes to jot some of those things down. Here's my video links.
Let's see. What's below here? A little bit up.
Can you, if you've written down a few things, share them again with your partner that you shared with earlier? Some of the community priorities, things that are confronting your community you would like to impact in some way.
The dissemination of information is very People are like, well, I didn't know about that. They're like, how did you yeah, that's very frustrating. Yeah, that's actually right, here's your here's your little tiny piece card where the signs are big, so same big so all that signing was so big. If you ever get a chance, it is even if you just go over it, yeah, it's just
Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in your communities. What are some of the challenges that lie out there? And I should just, kind of by way of introduction, I should say a little bit more about what I've tried to do when I was much younger. And after a lot of the SNCC folks gravitated towards the Black Panthers, and I was coming out of a high school I integrated, where I can't count the number of times I was called the N-word, just it was like every day there was something. And I felt I needed something that the Panthers provided me. And it wasn't toting a gun and the beret and all that, it was feeding children that didn't have lunches. We did 500 lunches a day.
First free lunch program.
Amen. It was renaming the public library the Douglas Truth Library. Somebody said, who's Douglas Truth? I said, this is named after two of our heroes, and why don't you just go back and figure that out? And when you figure it out, come back and we can talk about it.